Welcome to the YakChat, the ultimate podcast for the everyday angler. Whether you're paddling, pedaling, or motoring in the serene waters, or casting your line into the heart of bass territory, we've got your fishing fix covered. We're about to embark on an adventure that goes beyond the surface of the water. As we count down the minutes to launch, get ready to dive into the world of kayak fishing, bass angling, and the art of turning your kayak into the ultimate angler's haven. This isn't just about catching fish. It's about the joy of the outdoors, the thrill of the chase, and becoming the best angler and dad you can be. So, whether you're a seasoned pro or just getting your feet wet, join us on this journey as we navigate the waters of kayak fishing and fatherhood. Stick around, gear up, and let's cast off into another exciting episode of the YakChat, hosted by Bearded Dad Fishing.
What's up, guys? Welcome to YakChat, where we talk about all things kayaks, all things fishing, all the time. Jay with Bearded Dad Fishing, and I'm glad you guys are with us today. If you're watching live, you probably that we're not on our usual day. We're on Tuesday. Usually we're on Wednesdays, but the holiday schedule is a little bit hectic, so we'll be back to Wednesdays for the next show. In the meantime, thank you for joining us if you're watching live. So, of course, we're streaming live on YouTube, but this podcast is available on demand on Apple and so if you're watching live, we want to hear those questions, comments, and smart remarks. And you're listening later, drop a review, comment wherever it is. And if you live north, like we do, there's a good chance to put back away for the season and are focusing on other pursuits, maybe hunting, skiing, snow tubing, whatever. But if you're stubborn and a hardcore angler, then you're probably gearing up for the season. And as someone that's never been on, get a pro on here to talk to him or her about what makes ice fishing a success. Like how you can make it a success, how do you do it safely? To our boy Stem, aka Boppy Juice. He's an ice vet. He's a YakChat regular. He's going to be giving us some beginner tips and tricks of getting on the ice. So make sure you guys let us know in the comments. Do you go out and have you been ice fishing? And if not, why not? So again, interactive show. So get those questions ready and those dad jokes. At the end of the show, we'll be going live with our funny or crummy segment where we show all the submitted dad jokes. All right. So bring them on, even if they're corny. So before we jump into our topic, though, I just want to thank our show sponsor, Humble Imprints. Humble Imprints is a one-stop shop for getting you to make the most of marketing dollars. They not only provide printed apparel, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, all that good stuff, but also customized promotional items. These tumblers, stickers, folders, you name anything with your logo on it. Best part is Humble Imprints donate % of the net proceeds to benefit children and families. So, with that said, let's bring on the homies. We got Juan Olta. What's up, bro?
Yo, what's good? What's good?
What's good? Yo, your mic is sounding a little bit off again.
Bad, good, too loud, too low.
What's up? What's up, Jake?
Yo.
What's up, bro? How you doing, man?
What's good?
Yo, so we've been talking about ice fishing here probably for the better half of a month, and you've been trying to get me to go on the ice with you. So tell me, what's when are you?
You there? Okay.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, your internet's being wild tonight.
I think we got some connection issues, man.
Your beard is just so sexy that it's just cutting out Wi-Fi.
Yeah, the frequency from your beard is just knocking everything out.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah. Yo, you guys picking up? Yeah, I see some comments, some heavy lag. Let me see here, bro. See if we can't fix this. Some technical difficulties here.
You look good now. I mean, it seems like it's caught up, situated now. But at first, it was pretty choppy. Even introducing Jake there.
That's how it be. That's how the Wi-Fi be.
Yeah, I had the iPad here on my cell phone. I made sure I shut those Wi-Fi's off quick.
Yo, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you. If
Yeah.
anything, you
Is it
might just
better?
want to turn your video off for a couple minutes and let your Wi-Fi like generate, so your voice at least is chill.
All right. I mean, Lucas is saying I'm frozen, but it
Ooh.
sounds like my audio is coming through, which is
Yeah.
okay.
Can everyone hear me okay? I can just jibber jabber till Wi-Fi fixes, because y'all know me. I love to talk.
Yo, heck yeah, bro. So all right, so we'll try this. We'll try this again. I think it's doing better. Let me know if it's not working. But all right, so we're talking ice fishing.
Yeah.
Jake. So Jake's an ice fisherman. Juan is not, and I am not. That's supposed to change this year because Jake's supposed to take me out.
Ironically,
But see, the way I'm built though, I'm like I don't like cold weather. I don't like to be cold.
I actually have the stuff for it. I have the auger here, the old auger.
Yes,
Yo, you
sir.
actually brought it inside, bro.
No, it's been inside. I had no reason to. I have no like shed or anything for it. So
And you don't go ice fishing.
Nope.
He freezes the water in the bathtub and then goes ham.
I have the foam thingy to cover up this hole once you already have. So this is for like when you already have your ice hole made and like it's outside your shanty and you don't want it to get frozen over while you're not.
The tip up.
Your tip up is in there. You put this around it. And then, of course, I got my little tip ups here.
Yes, sir. You're ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think I am. I've never done it. I have everything kind of. Do I need more stuff? I mean,
we're gonna dive into everything that you need.
And that's why we got Jake here to let us know what's up. Yo, so Jake, I guess first things first, bro. How long have you been ice fishing?
I've been ice fishing, honestly, not crazy long, probably like 6 years. Probably like 6 years. I started doing it. The first year we got out on Lake Wallenpaupack. It froze over totally. There was 4-wheelers on the lake, which that lake's big for PA, if you guys know. Yeah. And we were striper fishing through the ice with tip ups.
Wow.
Now you set up all your tip ups and you get a bunch of people out there and you wait all day, and it's more or less for like 1 or 2 bites a day type fishing, kind of like musky fishing. But you have the opportunity to catch a 10 to 30 pound striper through the ice. So it's literally crazy. That was like some of my first fishing, and then I dove into it heavy, and now I live and breathe it. I don't know if it's the fact that we get so little in PA anymore. You get like last year was terrible for the whole country, but I mean last year was like I got out twice. It was terrible, and I'm not someone that will push the edges. I own a float suit. We'll get into that. Like super safety. Safety's number one. You guys should know that in kayak fishing already, but imagine when you fall through a frozen lake. So I don't push my luck. There's actually, speaking of if anyone's from PA in the chat, there was a guy on Toby Hanna today on 2 inches. He just posted. He went out on 2 inches of ice, caught a bunch of perch. He was wearing a float suit. I really liked his post in the one Facebook group, said, I felt safe, but it's not safe for most people. To be cautious. So I'm glad that he warned people. Some people like to make content that they want to be the first person out for ice fishing for their area and make YouTube content, but then they don't try to tell people like, hey, just because I'm on it doesn't mean it's safe the next day, or just because you're on one part of the lake. When it's first freezing and when it's thawing out at the end of the year, you can have spots where it's 8 inches and you walk 5 feet and you got 2 inches and you're going through. So safety is number one over anything else when it comes to ice fishing. Literally, ice picks, These ice picks are always the first thing you need, which literally they're spring activated. So you wear them around your neck. If you fall in, you literally just, when you jab the ice, the spike comes out and you can pull yourself out of the hole. That's cheap, easy. They're like $7. Always have these. This is the first thing you should buy. Another thing are cleats for your boots. If there's snow on the ice, usually you can walk fine. But if it's slick ice and you don't have cleats on, you could slip and fall, hit your head on the ice, whatever. Never go alone. That's number one rule too. I never go alone. I always go with some people. Up in like Scranton when I go, dude, there'll be a family of 20 people, like kids, moms in their chairs, books, like a whole family affair, especially up north. Lucas is in here, literally, dude. They're probably like whole family ice fishing up in Michigan and stuff, and Wisconsin, that area. Like it's just a way of life there because they get so much of it. Always go with someone. Always text someone where you're going. Give location. Have your safety gear. A float suit, which is just like snow tubing, bibs, and jacket, but they float. If you fall through, at least you're bobbing at top. But always be safe. I use a spud bar, which is a giant metal pole that you literally whack the ice with as you're walking. Some people say,
what's the point of that? Just that's to make sure
it's just checking in front of you. So what you do is you whack the ice as hard as you can. It's a solid metal pole. They're like 20 pounds to 40 pounds. And if you whack it and it goes through once, it's not safe. If you whack it 3 times the same spot and it doesn't break, usually you're safe. I mean, especially if you see a bunch of people out there, either follow the path they're using, but still check the ice. Like, don't just, especially in early ice, you really got to be careful. Because like I said, if there's any snow cover, you won't be able to see the difference. Because a certain cove of the lake could have been out of the wind, froze 3 weeks prior, and it's going to grow faster than another part of the lake that was in the wind that didn't freeze. And if it's snow covered, you'll have no idea what's an inch and what's 4 inches.
When you mention the cleat situation, are you talking about like a boot that already has cleats? Or
no, they just slide over your boots. I just get the ones that slide over. Don't wear them in your local tackle shops. Bad idea. Always remove your cleats. That's one thing. Our local tackle shop always make sure don't wear your cleats inside because you're literally just digging into their floor. But cleats just slide over your boot. They lock on, and that way you have grip. Because like I said, you go on days where there's no snow on the ice. It's so easy to slip and fall. Someone says 6 inches for safe ice. People say 3 to 4, but that doesn't mean it's that thick across the body of water. Exactly. It can freeze different. I go on. So the difference is ice clarity as well. It's sketchy if you literally look through and it's clear ice. Black ice is clear so you can see through it. That's stronger than cloudy white ice because it's cloudy white because the air bubbles are trapped in it. So 6 inches of white ice, cloudy ice, could be as strong as 3 inches of black because there's no oxygen in the black ice. So you got to be really careful. It's sketchy because you can see right through it. I've been on 3.5 inches of black and it makes me a little uncomfortable, but usually I don't go on at 4 inches or less, unless I'm with people that are just as experienced as me as well. You also want to take into consideration who you're with. If you're going on, maybe not so. Like if I take Jay and Juan, am I going to take them out on 3.5 inches? No. But am I going to take them on 4+ inches? Yeah. As soon as I feel 100% comfortable, I've camped overnight on the ice on, when you get into 6, 7, 8 inches, that holds 4-wheelers. You get to a foot, that holds trucks.
Yeah, those cars.
So, it's just that beginning.
They have cars out there. They chilling.
How thick does it have to be for vehicles?
Like about 10 to 12. 10 to 12 inches, which I've been on 12 to 15 inches. And it's and another thing is what people don't realize is if the ice is popping and making noises, it's actually growing. So what's creepy for people that took me a little while to get used to is you'll be fishing and a crack will go right between your legs and go across the whole lake.
Wow.
And it'll and people don't realize it's actually the ice growing because it's shifting and it'll shift as it's growing. It's a little sketchy. One day when I was like in my beginner years, I was like nervous, and then I look over and there's 8-year-old kids just running around, sliding around, like had no care in the world. And it was a family that just ice, you could tell they live and breathe ice fishing. They know.
Yeah.
I'm reading Lucas's comment, spearing pike with a giant hole. Yeah, I mean, we can't do that in PA. We can't spear fish in PA, but I know in certain states you can literally cut like a 4 foot by 4 foot hole and literally watch pike and use these big wooden decoy lures to bring them in, and then use a spear. And
or a real shad, like a real frozen shad, and just wiggle it.
It's crazy. But yeah, so that's pretty much the safety gears. Number one, always be safe, always go with someone, and always tell someone where you're going is what I say when you're first getting into it. And always be cautious, especially with snow-covered ice, because it also, if you don't know, snow is an insulator. So if you get 3 inches of ice and then they dump 6 inches of snow, one, that ice is not going to grow as fast because that snow is keeping the ice warm. And also the weight of that snow on the ice is not great either, because it is literally putting thousands and thousands of pounds on that ice. So what if you get like 3 inches of ice, you don't go, okay, you get 6 inches of snow, your best chance is actually to get a little bit of rain and get that snow wet and hard, and then get a freeze, and it's going to become cloudy ice, which isn't as strong. But if you have 3 inches of black plus 6 inches of white, you're plenty good. That's a lot of ice.
Yeah. Okay. So for as far as safety goes, you think like a float suit is necessary, or like a dry suit?
I mean, a dry suit is the same. The float suit's just like thicker, like a snow tubing or snowmobiling suit, so it's gonna be warmer than a dry suit. But definitely recommend something like that. I've fished without float suits before. I mean, if you're on 6, 7, 8 inches of ice and it's the middle of the season, you're fine in just your hunting gear, which a lot of people wear because they have warm hunting gear. Just be cautious if it's in your beginning of the ice, end of ice is where the float suit really takes in. I mean, you're looking at, Black Friday, there was a lot of great sales, but you're looking at $250 usually per suit, like per bottoms, and then $250 for the top. So it's a pricey investment, like a dry suit is for kayak guys. I know you had Chuck on talking about cold water kayak fishing. A dry suit's expensive too, but it's also going to save your life if you were to go in that cold water.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure. That's not something you want to go and get on Temu either. You want to get some good brands. Okay.
Yeah.
So dry suit or float suit, the ice picks, right?
Yes.
Some cleats so you don't fall. What else would you say safety wise? So go with somebody, right? And I'm assuming if you don't go with someone, you got to have some sort of plan where you let people know, like, yo, I'm going ice fishing. If I don't call you by 2, check in on me or something.
You might get a location before you launch.
Yeah, it's pretty much just like if you're going to a lake fishing. One thing too is just dress appropriately. If you're gonna hike a long ways, make sure you dress in layers, because if you sweat going out to your spot and then you don't have a shanty, like the tents that you guys see, they're called shanties. But if you guys sweat and then stand out there for hours, your sweat's gonna freeze, and then you're gonna be freezing cold out there. Bring hand warmers. I use a Mr. Heater. I see PA Kayak Assassin as a propane grill, a danger to melt the ice. No. I've used it. I actually if you guys watch any ice fishing content, overnight camping is a huge YouTube thing for overnight ice camping, and I've done it. It's super fun. I use a buddy heater. I use a carbon monoxide detector. Is 100% you need to. There's vents in the shanties to make sure your carbon monoxide comes out. You don't want to, that's super dangerous. So you got to make sure you have a carbon monoxide detector. But if you're just fishing throughout the day, you're not sleeping overnight, a propane buddy heater's fine. I get the little foam mat gym pieces that you see for the foam flooring that are like puzzle pieces. I put them in my shanty so I can keep stuff dry. But I've used the grill just on the ice, and it barely makes a puddle after like 6 hours on high. And then my stepdad built me, who's a welder, is this little pan. And what it does is it goes into the grate of the heater like this, and then sits flat, and I put tin foil on here or aluminum foil, and I cook hot dogs and pizza rolls on it on the buddy heat. So I've also brought out my Blackstone. I've done when I ice fish, I get there before dark and I leave after dark. I'm literally going. Kayak Assassin said, how do you relieve yourself? I mean, if you gotta take a leak, you just walk outside the shanty and face the opposite direction of people. And then number 2, you just walk to the woods and always back teepee.
Yeah. Or you hole and just
some lakes have porta potties, but I will warn you, you better try to warm up that seat before you sit down, because put some hot hands on there, because that's a rude awakening when you sit on a porta potty seat in 0 degrees.
You guys seen my doohickey? You guys use my
Oh yeah, we had the poop tent at Raystown. Yeah, that was legit.
Yeah, so the shanty's big enough. You know what I mean? Just turn around, throw that in the corner.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. If you don't know what Juan's referring to, we went to Raystown. We did some car camping earlier this year, like in March, and we had a little tent set up. There was no facilities there, but Juan set up a little tent, and then it had a little bucket with a little poop seat on it, right? A little toilet seat, and then you put a cot in there.
And you had a buddy heater in there too.
And a buddy heater. So we were able to use the bathroom like
that was the fanciest poop in the woods I've ever taken in my life.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I got poop phobia. You know what I'm saying? You can't be just doing it any way. So yeah. So I got this thing off of Amazon. I guess it collapses. So it's only like this thick at times. And it accordions up. I got the seat, comes with the bags. You can sit on it. And then what's crazy about it too is like you can make it like this big and you can like put it in the back seat and like
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So
that's sick. That's awesome.
Dope.
Yeah.
All right. So what are some ice fishing brands to purchase? Like if you're looking at some of this stuff, right? So maybe like good quality float suit or dry suit or something like that you recommend. Ice picks and everything else.
Ice picks. I mean, these are Frables. A lot of different companies make these, but when you're looking at like ice suits, you have Striker, which makes a really good suit, and Clam makes a really good suit. I believe I forget. It's not VFX. That's the wrap company. FX. Something FX, a lot of the bass guys wear. I can't think of the company. That one makes float suits, but I'd say Clam and Striker are your primary ice fishing suit companies. Clam makes rods, reels, air shanties. That's the shanty I have. Like Clam's your top of the line company. VXR, thank you. VXR, I knew it was something like that, is the brand that also makes float suits. There's a couple other ones, but Ray's cracks me up. But yeah, no, I'd say those companies. Like I said, the ice suit is expensive. If you just want to go out for the first time, find someone that knows the ice conditions. Another reason to find the ice condition is Facebook groups. We have some good ones in PA that are always posting ice conditions, or call your local tackle shops. They should know the local ice conditions. I know we have one up in mid PA up on the New York border that actually he goes out like twice a week and he'll post pictures of the ice with a little they make like a 1-inch drill bit with measurements on it, and it's to measure the ice when you drill through, and he takes pictures of every lake, and he does a great job. Tackle Shack up in like Tioga County, they do a really good job of giving ice reports for all the anglers so everyone's safe. But just go with someone so you don't have to buy a float suit, but make sure you still dress super warm. Waterproof boots is the #1 recommendation, because when you're cutting your hole, drilling it, when you come up with the auger out, you're bringing water out and it's going to splash on your boots. And if your boots get wet, they're going to freeze solid. So always have rubber boots.
How much do those picks run usually?
These little picks, they're like $8.
Like $8. Where you get them?
They're cheap.
Yeah, they're on Amazon. I think Jay has the Amazon links in.
Yeah. Everything that we're talking about is going to be linked in either the show notes or the description below, and there'll be a link to Jake's Amazon list. So he has all these items on a list there.
Yeah, I always have 2 pairs of these too for anyone I ever bring with too, just in case they feel uncomfortable and they want to wear them, even if we're on 12 inches of ice. I always have extra stuff.
Another thing that I kind of wanted to bring up that you kind of made sense with there was that the carbon monoxide thing, because the propane heater gives that off, right? And so, if you don't have a detector, what you could do is, like, if over time, if you feel like you're feeling faint or anything like that, you can keep a lighter with you. If you go to light the light, and the lighter doesn't light, you got to
that's another way to test it.
Air for it to burn, right?
Yeah. So, they're supposed to have safety tested on them, but I'd rather have the carbon monoxide. I mean, the shanties have vents, and like I said, if you're fishing all day and all of a sudden you feel a headache and you're in a shanty with a heater, you definitely need to open up a door. But if you're sleeping, you would never know once it's too late. So that's why I have the carbon monoxide detector in the shanty on me at all times.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a good call. I would have never thought about that.
Yeah, yeah. Because I had something I had to consider that night, you know, when I slept with you guys.
Yeah.
Something like that. So
yeah, if you have no way for it to escape, you definitely have to be super, super cautious.
mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I considered that night when I was with you. You sure you don't want to use my detector? I was like, yeah, I'll be all right.
It's stubborn. That's what it is.
I had to figure that out. You know what I mean? I had to sort that out.
All right. So let's talk about lures when you're ice fishing. So you get out there. What's good, like beginner lures or like even a species. Break down the species that is better for beginners to target when they're ice fishing.
All right. So first, before we even get into beginners, I'm going to go into tools. Some tools that you should always have are your normal snips that you have on your kayak for cutting line.
Okay.
And for getting the tiny micro hooks out, forceps, especially if you get the really long ones if you're fishing for pike or something, but if you're fishing for bluegill, perch, anything, always get yourself some forceps because these baits are tiny. Another great thing is a bait puck. So a bait puck is just a thing to hold, like if you're targeting panfish and you use waxworms, which is pretty much the primary thing people do is they'll put waxworms on a little jig head. They do make soft plastic artificials like micros for like Clam makes a ton of different, literally just like a soft plastic like you would put on a jig head or like a Texas rig. So, but a lot of people use waxworms. So this is just usually when you get them at the shop in like a plastic container that'll break in your pocket. So you just dump them in here. That's all it is. It's just a hard plastic puck. So when you go to put the plastic container with waxworms in your pocket from the tackle store and you crush it and it opens all over in your pocket, been there, done that. These are like $4 or like $6 for two, I think. These are a must have.
Now that thing you were, that's my bad. Is that similar to the trout magnet?
No, not yet. I'll show you what we're getting into too. Another thing that are super cheap on Amazon, bells. I'll show you these. These are for your tip ups. These are fire to have if you're tip up fishing. Another thing before we even dive into species is know your guys' ice fishing regulations. So for PA, we're allowed 5 total lines at all times. Certain bodies of water are 2, or certain states are like 2, 4. I think out west there's a state that's unlimited. And you can like leave them overnight and not have to check them. You only have to check them like once a day legally. It's wild. But also double check your ice regulations. So we're allowed 5 in PA. So that means you could have 2 jigging rods in your shanty, and then you could have 3 tip-ups, or you could have 5 tip-ups, and then you're just standing there and watching them, whatever it equals to 5. So that's that. And then we will dive into – so here, this is – so in Pennsylvania, I mainly target panfish. I will fish for bluegill, perch, crappie, and there's very few lakes with walleye. It's very uncommon for walleye. I know out west and like up on Oneida, New York, like walleye's everything. And I've been trying to get a walleye through the ice for years. But I do a lot of pan fishing, and then I use my tip-ups with live shiners for bass and pickerel, and you also catch perch and crappie on them as well. But I use those for the big fish, catch bass and stuff, or pickerel, and then I'll use these for the panfish. So this is a little tackle container, as you can see, and there's some different, like those are little panfish looking ones, and they have little rattles in them. But these things are, if you can see that's my pinky nail. Like these things are micro. Wow. They're micro.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
for anyone that's that's listening. So for people that are listening and not watching, you're holding up like a little tackle box that's made to hold like your lures, your jig heads, right?
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of like a fly tie box, but there's
pretty much is exactly. And
there's small like lipless crankbaits. It looks like in there. And so you jig these.
Yep. So you'll jig these, like these baits are a lot for the panfish, and you'll just put. Oh, what's that?
Those are jig heads there. Those
these ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are all just little jig heads, and all you do is you'll put they make soft plastics, or they make you just put wax worms on it. But that's it. It's just they make different colors. Some glow in the dark, but it is a tiny. I mean, there's my nail. It's about the size of my pinky nail.
Yeah, because when you said you put the wax worms on there, I really wasn't putting it all together. I have some super small panfish hooks.
Yeah,
and
here's that. Like that's a trout magnet. Look how big that is compared to what
I was wondering. Okay,
yeah,
wow, the trout magnet's a lot.
This is like you can catch. Here's like they make tiny soft plastics, and you can see they're literally micro soft plastics.
And who makes
tiny?
Yes.
Who makes that? Who makes that?
Clam makes them. Frostbite makes them. There's a bunch of different companies.
How long does it take that little thing to drop down in the ice once you know?
Pretty quick, honestly, because it's falling.
What weight are you using?
They're usually like anywhere from like a 32 ounce to like an 1/8 ounce is pretty big.
And on your line, on your test, what are you using?
So for bluegill and stuff and perch, I'll use 3 to 4 pound test.
And that doesn't get jacked up in the water with the cold and the frigidness?
No.
Wow, look at that.
So this is clam, and these are more of the frostbite ones I showed. They're just little micro soft plastics. But honestly, you really can't beat a live waxworm. You just put 1 or 2 on it and call it a day. So yeah, I have a bunch of different stuff like that. Another thing, well, that'll be when I get into tip ups. But so that's the thing. You just use a bunch of different. There's like little spoons and stuff too, straight up and down. There's just a bunch of different. You're looking at bright colors.
Yeah. So you're not taking like a whole tackle box with you fishing, right? Like a kayak, like when we go kayak fishing, we got a whole crate.
Yeah, no, I literally keep this in my pocket, which is literally the palm of my hand. It fits in the palm of my hand. This is my clam. And if I go to somewhere where like I'm going for Lakers or bigger fish, usually on a trip, I will I have a small box with ripping wraps and small tiny rattle trap looking things and flutter spoons. Like they're 2 inches long. But you can see here, like this is a rod and reel setup. We're looking at, I don't know, 26, 27 inches. This is a free spooling reel. And so what this does is you push in this button and it allows your reel. It's like engaging the reel. You'll push this button in here, your line will drop, and then when you start reeling, it'll gauge. And then a lot of times the best way to fish for panfish is you hold your reel on the side. So what you do is you palm it with both hands, and that way you can keep the tip of your rod, because this thing's an ultralight. Like it literally takes nothing. Here's this little jig head, and you can literally see I'm barely bouncing and how much it moves. So when you use 2 hands, you can really hold it steady when you're using your sonar, whether you use a flasher, which is a big old school thing. Like I have a Garmin Striker 4 I first started with. That's one thing I will say. If you're not fishing with tip ups where you can see the flags go up and you're just fishing with a rod and reel, it can be extremely boring to do without a flasher, because you don't have no idea. You can just drop your bait to the bottom, reel up once or twice, get it a couple inches off the bottom, and then you're just blind fishing. I've done it. It's super boring. If you can get a Garmin Striker 4 for like less than $150, the first one I got didn't have the ice deucer. It was like the one that goes on a boat, and I made a T with a PVC pipe to go down the hole. Like I made it work. Then I ended up getting an ice deucer, which is just like a cone shape, so it comes in and out of the hole really easily. But that's all you need. And now I have Garmin Live Scope, and that's just cool because you can just put it down, spin it 360, and you know where the fish are for the most part. And then like here's another, there's spinning rods is usually, this is a more medium. This is what I was talking about for bigger lures, for like walleye and Lakers and stuff like that. You start around like an 1/8 ounce and you go up to like a quarter, sometimes a half. I mean, if you get into YouTube where they go for like the giant Lakers, they're using like 4-foot ice rods, like a frogging rod in an ice rod version. And they'll use like 1/2 ounce jigs, like giant baits, like 4-inch tubes, and they'll catch like 50-pound Lakers. It's wild. But PA, it's mainly panfish, and then you use tip ups for your bigger fish. That's pretty much what we're doing here. So super little setups. I run 5 rods. I have 5 rods. I have some tip ups that use a rod. It's called an iFish Pro. So what it does is your rod sits in it up like this. Your minnow will be on your line, and you attach a device that goes down to this circular tip up. I should have brought them in. But what happens is when it takes the minnow, your spinning reel or whatever reel you have, it's opened. So they can just take it and take your line. And then when they take it, it'll pop the flag, and then they just keep swimming. So that way your flag comes up, you can run over. It's super fun to run over when you see a flag. Wait till I take you boys. We're going to be screaming flag, running, sliding. It's so much fun. But then you'll literally close the bail, reel down, and set into them. And then you're fighting it on a rod or reel. Whereas a tip up, it's all hand lining. So we can get into tip ups. Tip ups can get super expensive. They can get these ones are about $15. I'll take these bells off so you don't hear me jiggling the whole time. But tip ups are super simple. I always get this camera angle wrong. So what this is, it is a flag, which pops up, and then your spool, which comes down. So this is the tip up. So what happens is your spool is on here, which this is usually like I don't even know. It's like a braid, but it's way thicker. A lot of times they'll get like wax covered so they don't freeze when it comes out of the water. And you tie on, like I usually use like a 2-aught wacky worm hook from bass fishing. And that's literally all I use. So here is the hook.
Okay, so you spool that like a regular reel?
It's like a spinning reel. You can see it pulling off here. I gotta get this situated properly. Okay, so there you go. So what it has is the spool and then a little guide for your line to come out. And you see as I pull line, this thing spins. So what you'll do is there's a little button on here, which if you go to my YouTube channel, I'll explain it. But what this button does on the spool is all it does is it's a depth setter. So once you set the depth and after you fight a fish, you know exactly how much to reel in till you get to your buttons here. When your button hits here, you know you set it to the same depth you set it at the first time. So you're not having to reset the depth every time. So what you'll do is they make these little depth checkers. It's just a piece of lead and a clip, and you'll clip it on your hook. And what you'll do is you'll drop it all the way down the hole till it hits bottom. And then you'll slide that button all the way down the line or up the line. And right here is where you want the button. And so if you want it, you know, you're on bottom and you want it, let's say you want your minnow a foot off the bottom. You reel up a foot and put that button right here. And that sets your depth gauge. So you'll reel it back up all the way. You'll take off your little weight depth detector. You will put a shiner on here or a minnow through the back, and you'll feed all your line out until you get to the button. Once you hit that button will be right here on your, let's do this so you can see the black line. I have some fluorocarbon. So what this is like thick braid. So you just tie a leader on here. If you're fishing for pike, you probably want a steel leader by the hook, but this is just a fluorocarbon leader to this like thick braid. So your button would go right here, and then you stick it in the ice hole. So once you stick it in the ice hole, what you'll see is as I pull my line, you'll see the red thing above me. See how it's turning? That's what spins when the fish takes it. So to set these, you literally get your button to exactly where it needs to be, which is right on the outside of here. You will take your flag, and there's 2 little notches in this T. There's one that's bigger and one that's thin. And that's just a light sensitive, like for a bite detector, and you have a heavy one. So if it's really windy out, you want the heavy so the wind doesn't just blow the flag out. But what you do is you literally put it in this notch, and you can actually lower this so it is farther, closer down. Here we go. You can actually adjust this. So you bring this down. So now your flag is set. So what you do is, this is where these come in. I clip these on here so that way you can hear it. Because a lot of times you're in the shanty, you get to the point where you think you hear bells because you're like, you're on fish and stuff like that. But this is just a really cheap way to, if you're not, you want to look outside your shanty, or if you're standing out there, you'll see the flag, but the bells help out a little bit. So anyway, the way that works is when the fish takes it, it's going to spin it and spin the top and literally flag. And when you're coming over it, you'll see this top part spinning, and you'll see the fish running with it. So once you get over there, you're like, okay, there's a fish on it for sure. Look down the hole. If your line is straight down and it's not spinning, it could be a false flag with the wind pushing it out, or it could be a fish hit it but didn't take it, so he's not swimming with it. So if your line's straight down and this top isn't spinning, I would say there might not be a fish. But be careful, because sometimes they'll eat it and they'll sit there because it's ice. They're not super active. So what you're going to do is when you go to pull this out of the ice hole, you're going to reach down and you're going to feed it line. And the reason you want to feed it line is so that way the fish doesn't feel the weight of you lifting this out of the water. Because if they feel you, like if you're lifting up on a Texas rig and you don't set the hook, they might see that or feel it and spit it out. So you want to feed it line. You want to pull this out. And then it gets fun because you're just hand lining. So you don't do this part. I'm just reeling this to get the hook out of between my legs, so I don't hook myself. We don't need that.
So you're just hand lining the whole time.
So what you're doing is hand lining. So once you feed it line, pull out your tip up, you'll see a lot of times it'll be running. That thing will be spinning and the fish will be taken off. Or you just look down and you can see the line going out the sides of the hole, not straight down. And that's when you can a lot of times know that there's a fish. So feed it line, pull the tip up out, and then you want to slowly, like literally hand over hand until you feel weight. And then it's just set the hook, and then you're hand lining it. So not only are you hand lining it, you're now the drag. So you have to be careful of how much, if it's pulling too tight, you need to give it line if it's a big fish, and also line management. So that way, when you're done, you don't have a giant mess. So if the wind's blowing a certain way, feed the extra line that way. I know this kind of seems really complicated, but that way, when you're all done and you go to reset it back up, your line's not all like a giant bird's nest. That's literally what you're doing, is putting yourself in a bird's nest. So, and then you have the foam rings, which Juan showed, and what that does is just go around it. The tiny hole just covers up. Sorry. So this just covers up the part that goes down in. So if you're looking at Juan's,
it's just a foam disc, basically.
Yeah, all it is a foam disc, and your tip up goes through here, and that way your ice holes are usually 8 to 10 inches, especially if you're going for big fish. If you're going just panfish, you usually don't do tip ups. You can do 6-inch holes, but I use a 7.5-inch K drill auger, which attaches to a Milwaukee drill and slices through like butter. It's so much fun. Or you could hand auger, and then you have to sweat, and I got tired of that, so I got electric auger. But what this does is it makes that way, instead of an 8-inch hole, there's just this little bit. So when it's 0, -10 out, you don't have to break open your hole as often because it'll refreeze because it's cold out. Another basic thing that you need is a scoop. You need to scoop out that ice. Scoop ladle. So once you drill your hole out, you'll literally scoop out all that ice. You don't want your hole full of ice because, one, if you get enough in there, your line will get stuck on it. So if you're jigging, you won't feel the bite sometimes. Because if you're using like panfish and stuff, I have ultra light rods that you will see when they go ding, just the littlest ding. Or crappie, you'll have the weight of your bait on your rod tip. It'll be like this, and you're jigging. And then when you stop like this and crappie bite, they up bite. So actually it throws slack. And that's how you know a crappie bites a lot of times.
Have you ever gotten?
Okay.
Juan, you're muted. You can. You good?
Just still muted, buddy.
So you have him muted?
How about now?
Oh, there we go.
All right. Yeah. Yo. All right. So real quick, have you ever gotten spooled on one of these? And I noticed with yours, mine's like the real primitive old school version. I wouldn't be able to see mine running other than, because see, mine's not like yours. Mine runs under the water, right?
Yeah, they all run under the water. How
would need a leader on this line. Yeah. How would I relieve this of some line first? Would I have to put my hand in the ice?
Yeah, or you like slowly pull up, because you'll change you can unscrew these depending on which one you have, and it changes how easily it spools. So if you have it super light, you can lift it and it'll slowly spool up just enough that you can. These aren't super far down in the ice hole. They're about a couple inches. Gotcha. And these are pretty similar, but the way these work is their flag goes onto a clip over here,
Yeah, I was just
and when the spool spins, there's a little device here. You can see this. You can see this device, and there's a part that sticks out in the back of the spool. When it spins, it'll kick this device over, which then throws the flag.
So that's all mono.
What's that?
All mono that you have on there?
I use fluoro. When it comes to leader, I don't go crazy. Like I'll do 6 or 8 pound, depending on what I'm going for. I'm not super like gung ho like my bass gear. You don't really need anything too crazy because a lot of it's this is that braid style stuff, and then I have like a 5 to 10 foot leader of just some 6 or 8 pound fluorocarbon.
Yeah. So those are tip ups too, right? They're just a different style of tip up.
Yeah, just different style of tip ups. Now, tip ups can be a lot more fun because you see the flag. They're great for kids. You can yell flag and run over there. And you can just do all tip ups. I know people that go out to lakes and they'll just run their 5 PA. We have 5 lines. They'll run all 5 tip ups. They don't want to jig. They don't have sonar. If you don't have sonar, tip ups are a great way to just have fun. You can sit down in a chair, grill out, hang out with your buddies. You don't need to sit in a shack or anything.
So I want to ask you a question about sonar, but first, Larry Stroman is asking, what type of hooks do you use on your tip ups? Anything special?
So I've used just like 2-aught wacky worm hooks that's in my bass gear, and I've used little tiny treble hooks too. Sometimes if I feel like they're not getting the single hook good, I'll just use one of the trebles. I'll use a treble hook and just put one of the hooks through the top of a fish.
Okay.
Yes, gotcha. Kyle says after 10 hours, you'll hear those bells when you're trying to sleep and think you got a flag. I literally drive home the whole way from the lake, and it's just the whole way home, and you go crazy after a while. But I honestly love ice fishing again. I don't know if it's because we get so little, but it's just so much fun because you don't know what you're going to have on the other end of the line. You're not targeting you try to target a specific species, but at the same time, you still don't know. I tell people that's the only time I like catching pickerel. I hate catching pickerel in PA. Most people hate catching pickerel. I like catching them through the ice because it's just a fish,
Yeah.
So I like catching them there, but I love eating crappie. I mean, Jay, we did that catch and cook. I'm planning on taking us for some crappie through the ice. It is just so cool to see how the fish react. They're like totally different in the winter. It's crazy.
Yeah. So about the sonar, like when do you recommend people get into sonar if they're just starting out ice fishing? Does it tend to overcomplicate things? Because I'm guessing you have to make a different hole for your sonar.
So no, not necessarily. Like if you have a live scope system, a lot of times we'll be inside the shanty, or if I'll be somewhere, I'll make a hole for each because the transducer for the live scope is so big. But for the Striker 4, you can get the Striker 4 ice version, which comes with the ice transducer that your line will get wrapped around, but there's nothing for it to get like snagged on. So like it's super easy. Like you hook up, you just pull your transducer out and then you fight the fish. When I got it, I got the normal version, which was the boat version, which literally is like a puck almost that goes in the back of a little John boat or something. And I made like a T with a PVC pipe that went down in, and I would just like angle it down in. That one, you got to be worried that your line gets stuck on it, but it's small enough still. I would fish out of the same hole that my transducer was in. The Striker 4 is a great unit because it has the flasher mode, but that was my first fish finder I used on like a John boat and a kayak, where if you get into Vexilars, which is the premier ice fishing sonar, it is just a flasher. It's hard to explain. If you guys haven't seen, look up what a Vexilar flasher is, but it's totally different. Where the Striker 4 is an LCD, like a normal screen, and it just has flasher mode, and it has a scope as well. So you can get flasher mode, which is like a clock. You can see your bait fall down the water column. You can see marks that come up. And then a scope is just a vertical, like live 2D straight under your hole. So you can see your bait. You can see the fish line come up and stay on it and come down. So look into that. But for that unit, if you're just getting into ice fishing and you want to jig for fish, then tip ups, I highly suggest a Striker 4. It's an absolute great unit. And then if you get deep into it, then you have live scopes, and then it's so much fun with the live scope. It really is. Because before I would go to a lake and I would just Swiss cheese it. I would drill 60, 80 holes to find fish. And now it's like drill one hole, dump it in, spin it 360, see if I'm seeing any fish, and then go from there. So you can get dialed in way faster. But The Striker 4 I'll also use to if I forget the weight for setting my tip ups. That's another way to see where your bait's at, is to use the flasher mode. You can see your minnow dropping down, and then you're just setting it at the same time you're putting the minnow down. Then you can make sure you're a foot off bottom. But if you target like trout, you only want to be a couple feet under the bottom sometimes. All depends on the species, but the Striker 4 is a great entry level unit, and that way you can use it on your kayak.
Yeah, gotcha. No, that's a good call. How often are you jumping from hole to hole when you're going out there?
So it all depends. Certain lakes that I'll fish are shallow and grassy, and then you won't be able to really see the fish even on scope, especially forward mode, because there's so much grass still. That I will jump hole to hole to hole to find a school of fish in the grass, because there'll be schools of fish in the grass. But if I'm on a deeper lake and I'm looking for a specific brush pile, I will use that forward mode and scan around and find a brush pile, and then I will set up and camp on it all day. You can find brush piles that just hold fish all day. And it's funny because you'll find brush piles with panfish and stuff in them. And every now and again, all of a sudden, you'll see a big mark just swimming up, whether it's a bass or a pickerel. And all the panfish will skirt, and then they'll come back. It's very, very cool.
Yeah. That's cool, man. I'm excited to try it. I'm most nervous about staying warm. I mean, obviously, no one wants to fall through the ice, bro. But I don't like to be cold. I hate cold hands, dude. My blood's tropical.
The lake. I'll set everything up. You show up. It'll be the red carpet surface.
Oh wow!
Yeah, you'll just be coming right out to a warm shanty. I'll be already.
You should just do like an ice fishing like guide, if that's even a thing. Like guiding.
It is a thing. It is there are full-time gigs. There's actually things out in like if you go out to the Midwest and North, like Wisconsin and Michigan, they have trailers, enclosed trailers that they converted to cabins, and there'll be holes in the floor. And what they do is they drive them out on the ice, and they have hydraulic systems that lower it against the ice. And they open up these plastic lids that are like 10-inch holes, and they'll drill holes and they camp on them. And you can actually pay like a hotel, get driven out, dropped off at these ice shanties, and you just stay for 3-4 days. And they'll be they have TVs, refrigerators, microwave stoves. Like it's like a camper on wheels on a little trailer, and they drop it on the ice, and it's a full on thing. So you can literally just we don't really have them around in PA, but a lot of people like the shanties and stuff.
Well, I've seen people do what they call ice queens, where it's like it's almost like an RV that you can drop onto the ice, and the floors.
It's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, cut the whole circle.
That's wild, bro.
I mean, I always have the shanty with me. I always have the grill with me. I'm always cooking something. Dale says hot dogs or burgers, coffee, and hot chocolate, 100%. If I'm out there, I'm not going to be suffering. I will camp on a spot all day. I'll have my tip ups so I can see out the windows and check them every so often. But there's days where you camp all day. I've had some absolute awesome days camping on one spots, and then you have other days where you want to run and gun and try to find the fish before you really set up camp. It all depends on the weather. I've been out in 30-40 mile an hour winds one time. That probably wasn't the smartest time to be out there, but we camped in a shanty all day. I have a thermal shanty. That's another thing. If you guys look into shanties, the pricier thermal ones are the way to go. They keep you warmer. Your heater's not going to run as hot. You don't need it to run as hot to stay warm. But
okay.
Ray, what's up,
Morales? Ray Morales has a good question. He says it's tough to get on smallies through the ice.
So it is. I never really target bass through the ice. I will set up my tip ups, and I will either usually get pickerel or bass. I'm never like set up on them. Now, I've caught bass through the ice. I've caught some smallmouth. There was actually a time up in Scranton, I camped overnight on a lake, and it was the next morning around like 8 o'clock. And a school of smallmouth must have swam through because I had 2 flags go off within like a minute. Like I was running to one and I saw the other one pop, and it was 2 like 17-inch smallmouth. So a school must have just came right through, saw my minnows, and they each grabbed one. So I don't have an aqua view camera, or an underwater camera. Aqua View is one of the name brands, but underwater camera to see what bigger fish are coming by me. But yeah, smallmouth, you can catch them through the ice. If you guys want to see a lot of cool ice fishing content, Jay Siemens, who is out of Canada, you guys haven't seen his YouTube. He is a high quality video editor, like some of the best ice fishing content you will ever see. And they have a really cool show going on where he filmed 4 days of competition with him and his buddies. And it was like point system on biggest fish, but they got on a giant school smallmouth, and he put down the camera, and there was 10 like 19-inch smallmouth just coming through, and they would just slowly just come up, suck up a minnow, and 19-incher, and it was coolest underwater footage I've seen in a while. So if you guys want to see some awesome underwater footage, he does like pike fishing where he does like a 7-inch Cisco on 2 treble hooks, and you'll just see the pike just nose in and then just start swimming off. It is so cool. Absolutely so cool.
Have you ever caught a muskie through the ice?
I have not. I've only caught giant pickerel. I've actually traded a 5-pound pickerel for some minnows to some Russian people. A lot of Russian people like to ice fish, and they like to keep everything, I may or may not say, over their limit, but what I've seen can be deceiving. So some people don't like to follow the rules, but always make sure you follow your rules and regulations. Always make sure you clean up after yourself. But one day I caught a giant, like 7-pound pickerel. I know people can eat them. I don't deal with them because of the bones, but we ran out of minnows, and I knew the people next to us would probably want it. So I walked over and I was like, well, do you want this pickerel? Can I have like 24 minnows? And they were ecstatic. So I traded a giant pickerel for some minnows.
That's a great trade, bro. Especially if you're just going to throw it back. I don't want to call them a trash fish, but they're going to eat it.
They pickle.
Fish.
You can pickle it, I guess, but I just stick with like
you can pickle pickerel.
Yes, pickled pickerel is a thing.
Bro, I just want to make that just so I can offer people pickled pickerel.
I've always wanted to. But... You know what? I'm gonna try to stuff or mount. I'm gonna start with some bluegill first. But if I keep doing well and I keep catching these crazy, I do good around January. And it's funny because you said like, I don't really care for the pickerel. I love them. I don't know if it's because I haven't caught a pike yet. And in my mind, they're like a mini pike. You know what I'm saying? So
100%.
But I'm mounting one. I'm gonna figure out how to mount like some bluegill first, and then.
Well, you gonna like do it yourself? Is what you're saying?
I want to try, because I be catching some crazy ones sometimes, and it's just like, yo.
I hate pickerel, bro. But in the wintertime, they'll save your bite, and they're active in December, January.
I guess the reason I hate them is because I'm fishing so many tournaments that when I'm in the tournament mode and I'm thinking I got a 5-pound largie on, and it comes up to a giant pickerel, I'm not happy. So, but through the ice, you never know. So,
because when I was with Jay, I could do a replica. I could do a replica,
Because you have the painting skills and stuff.
We'll see. I don't know, because you know what it is with those. I'm finding out it's the kind of paint that they have. They got some pretty exclusive stuff. I don't know if I'm there yet.
You gotta carve it right and make the you know what I mean, like do the.
I see a lot of those guys go like. Yeah, well, so some of them you could buy like pre-done already, but like the shells are $700-800, like just and already pre-scaled and everything like that. But at the end of the day, it's not your fish. It's something that's
close to getting a replica too. Like people that do it, they're not cheap to get a replica done, but
no, it's art, man. That's
100%.
Yeah, it's a sculpted, and then they after they sculpt it, then they have to cast it, and then they give you a workable piece. Then after they cast, then they have a workable piece that they could paint. It's crazy. Yeah. There's a guy, I believe his name is Dark Corner Customs. I'll try to confirm it before the end of the show on Instagram. I watch him do it, and it's wild. They go scale by scale, putting shading and lighting. I know a local guy.
It's
like taxidermy. Taxidermy dudes are really good at it too. You get that? Do you ever get any? Because you do everything. You do fowl hunting. You do deer hunting. You fish.
Yeah, I have
animals. I hate to see you come. I know the zoo gets nervous when you pop up.
Fishing animals, dude. It don't matter what they are. They don't. I have a couple. I have a duck mounted. I have 3 bucks mounted. My dad has a full bear that he got with a longbow in Maine in the 90s. So he has an antelope. So I only have 3 bucks.
Like in the house? Like you grew up with a bear and just in your crib? Yeah. That's crazy.
No biggie.
Just whatever.
All right, I shouldn't.
You bring people over and they're like, "What the?" And I'm like, "Yeah, just a bear, whatever."
So I'm so Puerto Rican that growing up, I had fighting cocks in like fighting position, stuffed in like a pose. Yeah, like
I've never seen that. I've seen actual fighting cocks in Puerto Rico. Like they still have them and raise them.
Yeah,
I've never seen
these were like
stuff
two
in someone's living room.
taxidermied, like in a position of fighting stance, but like frozen in time, and they were just taxidermied like that. And I had that. For some reason,
I gotta love your roosters for that.
Speaking of birds, I don't know if you guys saw my clip from last year, but what's something that's cool with if you're ice fishing is a lot of eagles will hang out on the edges of the lakes. So there's a lake that I go to that has, there's a couple lakes, but one lake I go to, I have pretty much pet eagles where I will toss a pickerel or something on the ice and they will literally see it and here they come. They're just toweling it right off the ice right in front of you. I've done a couple videos of them doing it. Yeah, I did it last year. I don't think you guys haven't seen the clip.
Yeah, is that the one that went viral?
You said that went viral, super viral, right?
No, that was the one from on the water in the kayak. That one went crazy viral. That was the lake when it was swimming with the lake trout. That was like 45 million views. But the ones on the ice didn't go crazy viral. But yeah, literally, my buddies were with me from Pittsburgh, and I was like, guys, watch this. And I'm like, waved them, like whistling, like, come on. And you just chuck it, and literally from like 200 yards away, they go off the limb, and here they come. Wow. Right off the ice, like 20 feet from you.
That's gotta be cool.
It, guys.
So fresh.
I'll show you guys. It's cool. It's really cool.
That's so fresh.
Because they know the ice anglers, like some ice guys will they hate pickerel.
Yo, so real quick,
chuck them.
I have a little the ugly stick, the small one.
Like a little ice fishing rod?
No, it's not an ice fishing rod. It's just super small though. It's like I think it's for $14. It's like 28 inches long. It's really small. Can I use that, you think?
Probably. I don't know. I have some extra ones too, some shorter ones. Dale. Hey, Dale. Yeah, that's probably the eagle I got from millions of views on. Was it dove down and hit a laker and swam with it.
Wow. Look at that. Ron says fat guys don't do ice.
Yeah, I had my dad come out like one time ever.
He's scared of it. Do you use a ice sled?
Yes. So I have an ice sled. I actually built my own one time. I like built it inside the basement and like went crazy, like plywood and like made some crazy contraption. And then I realized I really don't need that. You just need a jet sled and throw your stuff in. But yeah, no, I have jet sleds, multiple jet sleds. I have the shanty I carry out. You get into a lot of gear, but you can be super minimalistic as well and just take out a rod and a fish finder.
Now, how much work, for example? Okay, we plan to go out. I wanted to bring this out just for the sake, you know what I'm saying, to say, because I brought it, right? So I brought it to use it. I want to use it at least once.
Yeah.
But am I gonna like sweat my butt off?
Depending on how much ice. If you go through like 8 inches of ice, you'll go through like one hole and you'll be like, Jake, give me that electric auger, and then I'll just be like,
that's what I was wondering. In that case, I'll probably just leave it behind.
I mean, if Jay gets cold. Where are we at? Over here. We're going to give him the hand auger and he'll just go to town. Then he'll be sweating.
I will definitely get cold, bro.
It is so
I hear, if it's pretty sharp, I guess it'll be all right.
Yeah. No, once it gets to like 7, 8, 10, 12 inches, then you're like, nah, this ain't it. And the old days, it was gas augers. And what I always joke is guys that still use them is it scares the fish away because it's so loud. But you'll just hear that 2-stroke all the way through and back up. And I'm like, nah, it's electric now.
So do the electric ones scare the fish away? Like if you're going over like a brush pile?
No, because the electric ones, I have a drill, my Milwaukee drill, it goes in the truck and it weighs, it's a 7.5-inch hole that it cuts. And the whole setup weighs like 2.5 pounds. So I just walk it around and you just through.
I think there's an attachment I could get for that.
Probably for a drill. If you guys go with an electric auger and you do the drill method, you have to make sure that your drill has the right torque power, or else you have to get a higher end drill. I will say that if you look into those, but you can get a fully electric, like a Strike Master or an Ion, which is like the whole thing's electric. It's 2 handles and it goes through. But the reason I use the drill one, I was like, I already have a drill. I'm just going to use my drill. Like, that's fine. But because then I can use it for whatever else, drilling holes in my kayak as well, where the electric ice auger is just for ice fishing. So my buddy has an electric ice auger. They're super sweet. I mean, they drill any of those augers, you drill through like butter, and you can do 60, 80 holes on a battery, depending on how thick the ice is. So I have 2 drill batteries, and like I said, like 6 inches of ice.
Oh,
probably doing like 60 holes of battery.
That was real quick. That was one of the questions I had. All right, how far away from you, like how much area can I hold down? You know what I'm saying? I'm out here. I got my tip ups. How much? You know,
so
100
it's
yards,
just
50
like,
yards.
I mean, if you're the first one on the, so there is a technical, I forget what it is off the top of my head, but there's a technical distance you can be from your tip ups in PA. I want to say it's like 150 feet or something, or 300 feet. Like you can't like put it at the opposite end of the lake because you're not going to see it go up. But like I'll put out tip ups every 15 to 25 yards from me, and I'll just kind of do like a pattern around my shanty, and I look at depths. I'll set different depths to see if it's a depth difference or a location difference. So that way, if one hole gets hot, I'll drill another one nearby. But when I'm in the shanty, I drill 3 holes. 1, 2, 3. The middle one takes my live scope transducer, and then each hole is for me and someone else. And I've also put 4 of us in the shanty where it's 1, 2, 3, and then 2 in the other back corners. Like if you have a lot of ice, you could pretty much drill. You can't drill like just open hole and then it's floating, but you can drill a lot of holes close to each other, and you're not you don't have to worry about it. But if it's like really thin ice, I wouldn't be drilling holes really close to each other.
Yeah, I can't wait because I ain't gonna lie, your live scope setup is fire. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, I had a shuttle. I'd have to go grab it, but I have a nice live scope shuttle.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, I saw the setup. It looks cool.
You want me to grab it real quick? Take 2 seconds.
Sure.
It's up to you, because we're gonna get right into the if you grab that, we're gonna get into the jokes anyway. So it's up to you.
I'll go grab it. You guys talk.
I bet. All right, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he goes hard, bro.
Yeah, because he had, you know what? Because he has that setup, so he can move, and that's what I love about Jake. Like Jake, his ingenuity, right? Because he has his live scope, but his live scope, if he wants, it'll go with him. He'll bring it on the ice. He brings it on the kayak. You know what I mean? Oh wow, he wasn't playing when he said 2 seconds.
Oh yeah.
Wow, look at that.
Yo, so explain it for the people that ain't watching, for the people that are only listening. Explain what.
All right. So what this is they call it a shuttle, and what I did was I took cardboard and I built a template out of what a lot of shuttles look like, and I gave it to my stepdad, who's a welder, and he created it. So on the back here, it's a flat piece of it's all aluminum, and on the back is your GSL 10 black box for your live scope. I run a 32 transducer, the older one. And then on the front, I have a 9-inch Garmin. They have the handle up here. I have a 30 amp hour lithium battery here. I have a little bit of storage. There's a little like lip in here so the battery can't slide over. And then on this side is a glow ring. And what the glow ring is for your jig heads that glow in the dark. So that's another thing I never even dived into is you can catch fish in the dark easily for ice fishing. Now your jigs will glow in the dark. So what that is it's just a black light. I turn it on. It's just an open cup, and you just stick your glow jig down there for 10, 20 seconds, and it glows up, and then drop it in the hole. I have a green light that you might see that are like down south on the lakes, on the docks. They have those green lights. So if you use a green light in the ice season, what you're attracting is the microplankton, and then it attracts the crappie and stuff that eat that, and the perch. You'll see them when you catch a perch. Sometimes they'll spit up like mud bugs, like really tiny stuff. So you can put a green light down the hole. Like there's a spot I fish where the crappie come in at dark, and you'll literally see them. You're in 5 foot of water, and they'll come in on the live scope, and it's like you took a crappie image, slapped it on the screen, and outlined it, and it's fins and everything. You're like, that is 1 billion% a crappie, and you just see it come into your ice jig, and then you're just shaking it, and you'll come up because they like to up bite, and they'll just come right up to it and eat it, and it's so much fun. So much fun.
Man,
I'm excited to go out, bro. I'm just gonna button up.
You're fine. It'll be a good time.
Bring the shanty, bring the heater, bring a grill. If anything, if I get cold, I'll go in there and I'll start grilling, man. I love to grill.
If we get on it, we're gonna be in that all day. We can put all 3 of us in that shanty and just shoot the stuff, have GoPros rolling in the corners, and just get all the mayhem down. And we'll be grilling hot dogs or whatever we want.
Nah, it's gonna be dope because we're gonna be messing around with the live scope anyway. So.
Oh yeah, you guys are gonna be like, what the? Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You'll just start drilling holes for fun. It gets so much fun. Or the tip ups, and you're running, and dude, you can run and slide, and you'll end up. Dude,
I just want to use my tip up once. You should have seen me trying to figure out how to use it here at the house at first. Just setting it up on stuff around the house and just playing with it, watching my flag go up. So
yeah, no, you literally if there's no snow, you'll run. I've run to a hole and like you slide on your knees, and there's just no snow, and you go past it, then you got to get up and run back. Like it's just so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah. I hope this is the year for sure. I hope that we had
just. And there's my buddy Chris. I'm ice fishing with him. You might meet him this year.
Word.
My buddy Chris.
All right, cool.
He's the one that taught me. Shout out to Chris. Chris taught me ice fishing. I met him on Wallenpaupack ice fishing for stripers, and he caught a pike out there that day. I'll never forget that. So shout out to Chris. He's been ice fishing way longer than me. He is an ice fish master.
Yeah, that's dope, bro.
I'm excited.
Yo, anything else before we get to the dad jokes, Jake? Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so.
Beginners, where like maybe resources people can go find some more information. Yeah, I mean, definitely your videos. You put out ice fishing videos. So Jake Stem Fishing on YouTube.
Yeah, it's been a little bit since I put out some, but I plan on filming some this year. Jay has all in the description the links to a lot of these products over on Amazon if you guys want to pick up some stuff. But moral of the story, guys, is go have fun, but be safe. Tell someone where you're going. Go with someone, especially if you're brand new. Try to find someone with experience. Go to a local tackle shop. Talk to some people. Maybe you can go out with someone. But ice fishing is super fun. Don't be intimidated. It is a ton of fun if you're safe, and you can have an absolute blast. And your fishing season does not have to end just because the water got hard.
Yeah, sounds good, bro.
Absolutely. Sounds like a freaking Flizzan. One that you can't, deviate from. This work for everybody. If anything, you should be getting out there with a life vest on, right?
I mean, yeah, if you don't have a float suit and you're nervous, 100%.
At the minimum.
Gotcha. Life jacket, something. Always picks are number one, because if you fall through, your hands aren't going to grab the edge of the ice. You're going to slip. So picks are number one. Picks are 100% the first thing you need.
Yeah, I got to get some picks.
Cool, man. So let's get into some of these.
I'm over here I'm
excited. I love these jokes. These jokes always get me cracking.
All right, man. So we got first one from hold on. My first one from our buddy Ray Johnson coming through. He says, "Why don't you tell dad jokes while ice fishing? The ice cracks up." Wow, spot on, bro. Topic and all.
That's good. Yeah.
All right, Ray.
I wonder if he came up with that one or what. That was good.
He Googled. He might Google it, bro.
Yeah, come on, Ray. We see right through that.
Yo, you probably made him blurt out his cigar smoke just now. Oh man.
All right, we got Granville. He says, "I can't catch anything. I feel like such a failure. Failure.
That's good. That's a tongue twister, but I like it.
Yeah.
Why did the fish under the ice go to therapy? It had frozen personality." All right, man. Another ice dad joke. Another one here. What did fish say when he hit the concrete wall? Damn. Oh, we got a Christmas one, bro. Roberto. Christmas. How much does Santa pay for parking? Nothing. It's on the house.
That's right. That's one.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, it is.
That is a good one. Yeah. I love dad jokes, bro. Christmas dad jokes.
Yeah, my wife told me that one before. I like that one.
All right, bro. I think let's see. We got one from Cotton Candy Kayak. No. We got one more.
Oh.
So I think it means this fish goes into a bar and the bartender asks, "Why the long face?"
I'm laughing because growing up, believe it or not, that was my favorite joke, but with the horse. You know what I mean?
Gar. He said Gar. So Gar goes into a bar and the bartender asks, "Why the long face?"
Okay.
Come on, Cotton Candy.
Makes more sense.
Come on. I'm just kidding.
It's all good. Why don't fish like basketball?
Why?
I don't know.
Because they're afraid of it. Because they're afraid of the net.
Afraid of the net. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Look at Granville's comment.
Well, Granville say you should have a contest to a subscriber to join you guys on the ice. I would love that. Bro, we should make it an open invitation.
I was gonna say,
Granville,
I take anyone.
Come through, bro.
I'll take anyone. I mean, I'm always down to teach people ice fish. If you guys are in Northeast PA, Scranton's where I go. I'm from the Lehigh Valley, but you got to drive up to Scranton to get safe ice. But there's good Facebook pages, or if Jay wants to come up, I'll figure out a date that I'm definitely going, and we can put an event in the Kayak Fishing Dads Facebook group and have an ice meetup. And just I can bring my grill and we can cook out some food, and whoever wants to, we can take turns getting the tip ups and everything, and just having a good time. Yeah, I'm 100% down for that.
And I haven't like sorted out the specifics with Jay, because I'm not sure how we would do that on the live, but I would love to start giving one lure out, or maybe more, every
show?
episode. Yeah, I would love to. I would love to get one out now. I just don't know how we would make that fair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, because I don't know how to not just, pick somebody with, I don't know how we make
randomly pick someone.
Yeah.
No, we'll figure it out. We'll do that, because that'll be cool. We'll give away custom lure from Juan.
Oh, Jay, you got to add in that ice meetup. Ray's not allowed, just Tim.
Ray's not allowed, just Tim. No, Ray's gonna bring cigars.
That's true.
We'll
have a little flask. He'll have a little flask to stay warm, and he'll have a stogies.
So will I, bro. I gotta stay warm out there. A little bit of whiskey, a little bourbon, or something.
Yeah. You know what? Somebody just told me about something real good. Somebody told me about rum with apple cider, and they said to heat up the apple cider a little bit with a little bit of rum in there, and they said it's.
I'm not a rum guy.
I'm a hot chocolate kind of guy. What can I say?
Yeah, hey, I don't know.
Hot chocolate hits though.
I don't really drink much either, but you know what I'm saying. I'm down to try things.
Yeah. No, why not, bro? We'll make it work, and we'll do when we figure something out, we'll do an open invitation. Whoever wants to come through, if you close by, then we'll do it.
100%.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, yo, Jake, thanks for coming through, bro. Like usual, we're gonna have Jake back on in the next couple weeks or so, because we got some stuff planned out.
Always down to chat fishing, boys. I appreciate the invite as always.
Jake is like the I ain't gonna lie. I think we go back. Jake has the most appearances so far.
3.
What can I say?
I think this is the third one.
I think it is. Third one.
So, but it'll be.
Hey, if you ever do a hunting podcast, let me know.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Which Jay, I have duck coming your way, Jay.
He's bringing. He got me some duck breast.
Yep, that's some fresh duck coming.
It's gonna be lit, bro. I can't wait.
All right, well, let me know when you drop it off so I can come over there for a little bite.
Vulture. No, I'm just kidding. Heck yeah. No, all right, guys. Yo, thank you, Juan. Thanks, Jake. If you guys want to follow Jake and you don't already, his information, his socials are in the show notes, and of course for Juan and myself as well. So we'll be back at it again in 2 weeks. I appreciate you guys. Till next time, peace and God bless.